What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Hitbox European Championship here on the Pro Dota English channel. We have a best of 5 between mYinsanity and Yellow Submarine on the way. This is grand finals. Winner takes it all. Loser gets second place. Not that bad. Both these teams have had a great run, but of course they want that #1 place. I'm Mikelorus, one of your casters for today. I'm joined by GrandisV also on the mic, and we have Corrupt Drop Bear on the stats. And we had a couple of lobby issues, a little bit of server issues even, but hopefully everything should be fine. We'll know once mYinsanity make their first ban. But dude, grand finals, this should be good.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a one-game advantage for mYinsanity, but they were also docked 30 seconds of reserve time for showing up late. So there is that to keep in mind as we go into this series. It could be over fairly quickly if mYinsanity pull through 2-0. And although that's unfortunate, it's not without reason. They did come through the upper bracket, and pretty convincingly too.
And they just did 2-0 Yellow Submarine to get to this upper bracket. That was winners finals. So they knocked down Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine got right back up, and mYinsanity looking to knock them down again. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that we just don't have 2 games, because that kind of sucks for a best of 5 grand finals. So that's like bare minimum of what I want to see from this series. But outside of that, we've been seeing some pretty good tempo plays from the mYinsanity side, really controlled aggression from them, and Yellow Submarine have really handled that well when they were going up against Aspera in the losers bracket finals. So hopefully we'll see some of that clash, and hopefully it's going to be a pretty even matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as far as the bans are concerned, Earthshaker, Leshrac, Lena, Bounty Hunter taken out, which would at least suggest to me that this should be a gyrocopter pick for Yellow Submarine. But if it's not a gyrocopter, Tusk is also pretty high up there for Yellow Sub.
Yeah, if it's not either of those two, then I'd be pretty surprised. Wyvern first pick is not really something that teams are doing too frequently nowadays, but for Yellow Submarine, Tron is... I want to say he's a little bit more confident on the Phantom Lancer anti-mage territory rather than gyrocopter. That's not to say he's a bad gyrocopter, but it might be Yellow Submarine angling for that one instead, and it is going to be them delaying that core 1-roll pick, instead deciding to opt for the Queen of Pain, and I think this is just as good, if not better. Thug is very comfortable on that hero.
However, this is going to leave both the Tusk and Gyrocopter available for mYinsanity, so they'll be very happy that they picked them up. It is nice to be able to play to your team's strengths, but it is also equally as nice to deny some of those strengths away from the enemy team. mYinsanity will be very happy with their first 2 picks.
Yeah, it almost just doesn't get better than this. Like, Leshrac, Shaker, the 2 bans out from mYinsanity would be like the best 2 picks. I think if you could open up with that, then you're probably going to feel really good about your draft pretty much no matter what you pick afterwards. But this is, not too bad either. Tusk most likely going towards that off lane. I would expect Nico to handle that one, although it's not out of the question to see it played as support either, especially with a gyrocopter. You can get some pretty good aggression on with those 2 heroes. And Yellow Submarine decided to grab a Clockwork. As I said before, Tron more in that Phantom Lancer pool, and it seems like a pretty good environment for someone like that hero.
Yeah, and Clockwork is pretty tried and true, one of the better offlaners, especially since Yellow Sub will immediately ban out the Darkseer. He pretty much has supremacy inside that role. On the dire side especially, can pull back the creep wave, always get experience out of his lane, unless he's getting Dover in a tower, which is something that isn't out of the realm of possibility, but it doesn't happen every game. The Clockwork Queen of Pain offers a lot of long-range initiation for Yellow Sub, but the timing windows that it's strong at are going to be fairly slim. Once Gyrocopter gets his BKB, all that combo really offers is BKB Piercing Stun and Sonic Wave, which isn't that impressive.
Yeah, it is a little bit more than some other teams have, but BKB and Gyrocopters going to make it difficult for Yellow Submarine. Just as a defensive tool in general, they'll also have the Tusk with that Snowball. So if you are going to commit to a hookshot, and if you're going to commit to a Sonic Wave, got to make sure that the Tusk is at least in some way, shape, or form dealt with. Otherwise, he may end up being very, very sad. Darkseer, Templar, Assassin going to be the bans out from Yellow Submarine. Seems like they do have a read that mYinsanity are going to run this Tusk in a support capacity, which is probably the less frequent lane option for the Tusk, but Darkseer I think is justifiable regardless, and mYinsanity, I like this. They're going to take out the aggressive heroes, knowing that that would interrupt their game plan much more than if they picked it up themselves.
Yeah, and maybe here pick up something like a Shadow Fiend if they want to fill up that mid-roll, or pick up a hero that would work nicely to allow them to be aggressive, or a good defensive support. Rubik and Dazzle are pretty high up on that list. Dazzle maybe a little bit more so, as the spells to steal, although good, aren't anything of the level of like a Shaker. It's going to be a Shadow Fiend, no big surprises there, a decent mid-matchup against the Queen of Pain. Not super stellar for either side, it really depends on the supports behind them.
And it still seems like it should be a dazzle here for the mYinsanity side. You get some minus armor synergy with the Weave, which is of course very nice for the Shadow Fiend, but more importantly perhaps you get Tusk synergies, where you'll be able to snowball him in, maybe +1 anyone else, maybe Gyrocopter, and then instantly you get that heal bomb, and it's, not the most devastating combo in Dota. I'd say Fissure into LSA is probably a little bit more dangerous, but it can definitely get the job done if you catch someone off guard with it. And if you get a couple kills with it, then Shadow Wave suddenly gets really scary, and, well, it also heals, and that might be something that Yellow Submarine will struggle with. Yellow Submarine have the opportunity here to get a couple of roamers and really sit on the Shadow Fiend hard, try to shut him down and get this Queen of Pain off to a good start, but it's going to be a dazzle for them instead.
Pseudo deny pick, but in general, also just an amazing support to have on your side. The vast amount of utility they offers is really almost unparalleled as far as what it offers to the team. Shallow Grave is just such an amazing tool, especially when you have these more mobile carries. The Queen of Pain already for Yellow Submarine and probable Phantom Lancer down the line.
And if mYinsanity don't grab more CC, they may end up struggling up against those seemingly very mobile draft coming out from Yellow Submarine. The supports now are, well, not Dazzle, obviously. Rubik is still looking pretty okay, but they really just do need a lot of CC. Lion seems reasonable in that regard, just to have some sort of answer, but it's going to be a Beastmaster instead. I've seen Nico play a lot of this one in the past. This is going to confirm that the Tusk is going to be played as a support role, but it's going to give them a point-click disable. I feel like this hero is really underplayed.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a little bit awkward in the lanes when you have a Tusk as the supporter for their team. A dual lane of Tusk and Beastmaster isn't the greatest, and they probably won't go for that. And that pushes Tusk into a more nomadic role. He can defend the Shadow Fiend reasonably well, but if they do get behind and mYinsanity aren't able to get kills for this Tusk, he could end up with not a real great place to go. Tusk doesn't have a backup plan usually.
Yeah, and it's sometimes going to be hard to get these kills if, or play aggressive. Yellow Submarine have Dazzle and Clockwork, who naturally are very defensive heroes, and of course Queen of Pain has the Blink. The Beastmaster will offer them eventually a stun, but the stuns that they need are going to be a little bit earlier than that level 6 mark on what usually is an off-lane hero. So if mYinsanity struggle to get that level 6 on Beastmaster, which is certainly not too uncommon, then they may end up costing themselves a couple of kills, just being able to necessarily lock down the Yellow Submarine side. So they still do need a little bit of stunning action. Alternatively, they can go for an offensive tri-lane, get the Beastmaster in the safe lane, and try to accelerate his level 6.
Sure. As far as the next couple of picks are concerned, Yellow Submarine, that could be good for them here. An Ancient Seal from a Skywrath Mage could fit pretty nicely into the team. A hero that's really good at poking at the Shadow Fiend in mid, although not outright getting kills until level 6 comes online for the Sky and the Clockwork both. I think that would work pretty nicely for them.
Ooh. Okay. Taking a note out of Aspera's book from the last time, it's going to be a Night Stalker from Yellow Submarine. Honestly, didn't really see this one coming. Like, when you have a Dazzle already, Clockwork, Queen of Pain, though they can do well if played aggressively, aren't necessarily that aggressively slanted, like a Spirit Breaker or an Undying, not really to that degree, or like even a Bounty Hunter. Yellow Submarine looking to use this hero to apply a little bit of pressure to the mYinsanity heroes early on. And, well, the lack of stuns is going to hurt mYinsanity, having no answer to deal with the kind of quick hero in the Night Stalker. I don't really know who can really follow up the Night Stalker's dives appropriately, like Clockwork, Queen of Pain sometimes, but they need a lot of levels. They early on won't really be able to do that much.
Yeah, and also these lanes are going to be very difficult for the Night Stalker to gank in general. Gyrocopter, Beastmaster, Tusk all have either very high amounts of base stats to keep themselves sustained, or can threaten a lot of damage. Shadow Fiend is probably the most likely hero that they want to pressure with this Night Stalker pick, but even the SF, if he has sufficient levels and you get caught out by 2 raises as the Night Stalker, you could very easily just be brought down by the Shadow Fiend himself, let alone any support rotations, which will probably be coming in. Tusk +1 looks like that's going to be your supporting duo. As far as the last bans are concerned, Anti-Mage will be taken out by the side of mYinsanity, but this still leaves the Phantom Lancer pick available for Yellow Sub, should they want to go for it.
And I don't really see any reason not to. Like, they might want to go for someone like a Luna, just to try to capitalize on this Night Stalker a little bit more, try to play that much more aggressively, and really try to dislodge mYinsanity out of their comfort zone, which is, a viable option for sure, but I think Tron is probably a little bit more competent and a little bit more comfortable on someone like that Lance that we keep on mentioning. For mYinsanity, it's going to be a Storm Spirit, actually, for their last pick, so someone's going to the jungle here. Yellow Submarine thought it was going to be a support last, and I think probably everyone thought it was going to be a support last pick, but Beastmaster jungle probably.
This is okay, so there's several different things that mYinsanity can do, and I guess we can just list them from most likely to least likely. Beastmaster Tusk supporting duo is really awkward, but it can work if it's just a Tusk Gyrocopter lane. But then where do you throw the Storm Spirit? It's not going to be a very comfortable laning stage at all for mYinsanity. I think more likely, Gyrocopter support.
Yeah, Nico Baby did play a pretty mean Storm Spirit. I think it was actually versus Yellow Submarine in the Winners Bracket Finals. Like, we are all kind of questioning whether or not he'll really get off to a great start, but he just rocked the entire game. So that is probably the assignment. Nico Baby is going to most of the time go towards the safe lane. Gyrocopter as a support hero is, one of the lesser reasons why Gyrocopter is picked up, because you do get that minor amount of flexibility in being able to shift roles on a dime. Very similar to Alina, who's like mid or support, which is usually the complete opposite. And with Milan taking the Gyro, it is going to be just that. Snowball into Rocket Barrage, once you get level 3 on these heroes, is a pretty threatening tool.
But until you get level 3, it is fairly damage light. The Rocket Barrage nerfs hurt most often Gyrocopters getting that early value point to Rocket Barrage and your roaming Gyrocopters. So we'll have to see if they get off the ground, but if they do get momentum and get experience for the Tuscan Gyro, it's a mass amount of burst damage. They could even catch off a Slark or Queen of Pain if they're not careful, just in the duration of a snowball punch.
Unfortunately, they are going up against a Dazzle with this combo, so the intent of this combo is to just get in there, Rocket Barrage, pretty much instantly get the kill, if not instantly, very quickly get the kill, and then get out. And Dazzle is going to make that really difficult. Even Clockwork is going to potentially make that very difficult. Just by putting up the cogs, trapping the Gyrocopter and Tusk in the cogs, maybe near tower or something like that, will make the dive a little bit unnecessarily risky there for the mYinsanity squad. So they really do have to be careful about who they snowball into and where the Dazzle is in relation to that target. If they mess that up, then they may end up giving just 2 heroes away. Gyrocopter has decent armor, but not really a ton of HP to capitalize on that. So we'll see if mYinsanity can get off the ground with this. They are going to give Nico Baby his Storm Spirit, so very excited to be seeing this one again. Thug is going to be handling the mid lane. Shadow Fiend, we got Milan supporting. Yes, supporting as the Gyrocopter. Nikwa is playing the Beastmaster, and up towards top, Spartan is leading the charge as the Tusk.
And for the Yellow Submarine side, it's going to be Tron playing on the Slark, bumping into this Tusk, but it looks like nothing's going to come of it. Windex going to be handling the Night Stalker, Kant on the Dazzle, Queen of Pain going to be handled by Barrage, and offlane, it's going to be Marushka on the Clockwork.
Alright, so the last pick, Slark, something that we didn't quite mention, it kind of just snuck in there. It is a really good pick up against what mYinsanity have, and they're actually going to get a good angle right now on the Tusk. They know he's here. It seems like they do. Spartan will need to snowball out of here or somehow dodge a pounce. He's going to get hit by the pounce, but dodge the Shadow Wave. That might be good enough. He's going to stun through 3 heroes. Void is there. Backup, however, is not coming. Spartan has boots of speed, but Barash is going to blink forward. Look to cut him off. If he goes into tower right now, I think the Queen of Pain still gets kill credit. Okay, he's going to try to hide. I don't think there's any escape here. Who's going to get it? Probably Barash. You want the first blood for the bottle, and that is going to be that. Spartan probably could have tried to deny himself to the tower, but it is either way going to be the first blood for Yellow Submarine. They don't get the top bounty rune. They do get the bottom one, however, so already a pretty good start for the Yellow Submarine side.
Yeah, for sure. And now Milan posting up very aggressively, but since Queen of Pain is right around the corner and there's so many heroes, I don't really recommend it. It was just an awkward spot to be caught out in, even though he had the boots and had the snowball. Tusk was just going the wrong direction. Granted, if he goes the other direction, he dies quicker, but he just got split away from the rest of his team and couldn't really do anything at that point. Now mid lane gets really difficult for the Shadow Fiend. With such an early bottle coming out from the Queen of Pain and such an early level 2, Doug is going to be put under a lot of pressure.
And back to the Slark, man. Like, they don't really have any CC that is good at dealing versus Slark. Like, if you see a Beastmaster coming in for the Roar, as a Slark, you have a lot of time to react. Same thing with the Snowball. You'll see it coming from a mile away. The only answer that mYinsanity will have decently to a Slark is if Nico Baby is going to, have a big ball lightning in, the Slark doesn't see him coming from, like, Fog of War or something like that. Or if there's an Orchid, which you can get off before there's a Pact. But this Slark should have a pretty decent time, assuming this lane isn't too inhospitable. But it looks like it's actually going to be a pretty dangerous offensive tri-lane. Again, Snowball into Rocket Barrage is a significant threat. Maybe not as much so versus the Pounce, but add a Beastmaster on top of that with the Boar to slow, and you can get these kills even through heals from the Dazzle and Shallow Grave, which isn't up yet, but will be coming up soon.
I don't expect Tron to be dying here, but I also don't expect him to get a lot of farm. If he tries to greedily go for these creep waves and is a little too far away from his supports, that's where things get really dangerous. Right now the lane's pushing back, so Tron will get some experience. But I think we should just look at the other lanes for the most part as to where Yellow Sub can get the bigger advantage. Queen of Pain in mid's going to have a good time, and even though it's not an amazing lane for the Clockwork, he still does quite well against the Swarm Spirit. And down bottom, he's going to be trading with Nico Baby. The battery assault's going to work, but with creeps there, won't feel comfortable to keep on going for that trade. Nico Baby can very easily threaten. If he gets a Remnant onto the clock, that could get very dangerous.
Yeah, Clock definitely has enough to kill off the Storm Spirit here, but he chose the wrong time to actually go for that. There was pretty much a full creep wave there from the Storm Spirit, so Battery Assault, though it does do quite a bit of damage, especially for a level 1, level 2 skill, when it's split between creeps, suddenly it is very underwhelming. And Nico Baby will have to deal with the cogs, so they are going to have to kind of manage the Storm Spirit's gonna have to manage his mana a little bit better. So obviously see already the Magic Wand and Soul Ring being built up on the Storm Spirit. But then we have mid lane. Shadow Fiend is actually doing not too terribly versus Barrage, and you would expect this to be a fairly even lane, but the Queen of Pain getting that first blood should have a vast advantage. Thug is doing decently. He has the souls up, he has his raises up, and he can actually threaten Barrage with those raises. And of course, the top lane's always threatening with this shards into Snowball. Who are they going to go for? No one, it seems. This is the Rockets. Onto Kant right now. Grave is available. He'll throw it on himself. The Snowball, though, is going to come right in time for the Grave to end. And that's going to get the Gyrocopter a kill. Wind X and Tron poking and prodding, but just not enough damage on any one target to get these kills. It's a very slow, very clunky gank there for mYinsanity, but hey, it's a kill.
Since the Shadow Fiend is doing so well against the Queen of Pain, despite losing first blood, I think mYinsanity will be happy with where this game is. Milan is going to be forced to salve up. The Night Stalker will chase forward with boots, but has no further mana for another Void onto the Gyrocopter. So Milan will be able to walk this one off. Mid lane, man fight between these two heroes will slightly favor the Shadow Fiend, although he can't use his bottle yet. The Queen of Pain has already been forced through two of her charges. Snowball in. The Queen of Pain's in a lot of trouble here. She already used her Blink cooldown. They need another raise to connect, but they can't get close enough. Spartan is going to take a lot of shots from this Night Stalker, but nobody is going to die. They should respect the damage output of a Shadow Fiend with 3 points up in his raise.
It looks like everyone is just going to fall back. That did force the Night Stalker and the Dazzle to both come to this mid lane. And while that is happening, Tron versus Nikwa is actually not too bad for the Beastmaster, though it's really not too bad for either hero. Thug is still doing just fine. He has now a little bit of a stack to work with, not a ton again, not having many supports in his area. But level 5 on the Shadow Fiend versus the level 5 on the Queen of Pain, and we're pretty much neck and neck. First nighttime phase though, and it's level 2 on Windex. This is more or less what you would expect from a Night Stalker, especially support. He's going to open up the Void onto Nico Baby. He already got one Remnant down. Here comes the Battery Assault, but Spartan is also here with the Snowball. Nico Baby though, he's standing in the middle of the Cogs. Spartan gets bumped back twice by the Cogs. He will maybe get the kill here onto this Clockwork, but he's bottling up in between this. He's going to try to turn around with a couple more right clicks. Spartan will go down to the Night Stalker. A little bit of a misplay there from the Tusk. He just couldn't get through those Cogs, and yeah, if you keep trying, it's not going to suddenly work.
Submarine get 2 pretty nice kills, but it seems that the audio on stream's a little bit off. The in-game sounds aren't working, but a missile down in bottom should be the death of the Clockwork. He'll get 1 Cogs bounce, but the Rock Barrage damage will be lethal, despite Clockwork trying for the TP home.
Yeah, my master volume was at 0. So I just bumped it up a little bit, guys. Hopefully it's a little bit better. It's going to be Milan to get picked off. Yeah, okay, I hear something now. I just didn't even register that there was nothing there. It's going to be the Gyrocopter to die to the Queen of Pain. No Sonic Wave needed. It's going to give her level 6, however. And ultimately, the trade is going to be really good there from Yes. They have, I think, kind of successfully dislodged mYinsanity from their tempo-based gameplay. It's still, of course, not too late. They have a Shadow Fiend, they have a Storm Spirit to really get off the ground. But right now, this is not where mYinsanity like to be in their early game.
Yeah, and really all of it just comes down to that one ill-fated fight in bottom. The Shadow Fiend is still doing reasonably well against the Queen of Pain, but she's started to pick up momentum. 2 kills on Barrage already, 1 being First Blood.
And this Queen of Pain is just going to go for Power Treads right now. The Sonic Wave is a pretty substantial threat, but having gone for 2 points in the Shadow Strike, really would like to wait for that level 8 and maxing out the Scream Pain, get the full burst combo up before she really starts rotating around, aggressively looking for those kills. Seems like it's going to be Nikwa also up on top lane, level 5 on the Beastmaster. Even with a kind of offensive tri-lane on this top lane for the mYinsanity side, this Beastmaster is getting a lot of experience. And though you would love to have a Beastmaster with Necro 3 as soon as possible, just having a Beastmaster with Roar is also a pretty sizable threat for Yellow Submarine to deal with. Like, we can already see mYinsanity with the intent to roam around with their heroes. The ability for Beastmaster to actually join that is huge.
Yeah, and even though the Gyrocopter is being played as a sport, they have so much damage follow-up to that Beastmaster Roar. Just 2.7 the Rocket Barrage is enough. You have maxed out raises at this point for the Shadow Fiend. As long as he's partnered up with one of those two heroes, Roar should be getting them kills, unless it is in an outnumbered scenario.
Well, maybe it's going to be a fight over this haste rune. Here comes this Clockwork. He has a hook shot, but he's going to walk into two heroes. Hook shot stuns two. He's going to put Thug in the middle of the cog. Spartan again, struggling to get in there. Finally snowball through. He's going to catch Spartan for a little while, save him a little bit of damage. Here comes Nico Baby as well. Sonic Wave going to cut through three, and that's going to destroy the Shadow Fiend. Milan also stuck in a corner. Will die to Barrage, who still has a lot of health and a lot of mana to go. Spartan is not that strong right now. A blink, right click will kill him off. And it looks like Barrage is going to instead try to go for Nico Baby. No, Blink Scream. That'll kill off the Tusk. In a 3-for-1 trade for Yellow Submarine, Barrage is going to collect huge off of that 5-0-0 on this co-op. Now teleporting up to a top lane where they want to go aggressive onto Niqua, it seems. They throw a level 1 Poison Touch. That's actually really a bad skill. So it's not going to result into anything there. But still for Yellow Submarine, they're getting this Queen of Pain really accelerated.
Yeah, she's going to be very happy because of it. The Storm Spirit is a little bit behind. Shadow Fiend and Storm Spirit are going to rely increasingly on their woods to catch them back up into this game, or at least be at a point where they're super happy. The Slark isn't doing too well. I guess that's the silver lining for mYinsanity. Tron has not had free space at all this game since the Beastmaster was accompanied with so many of his supports, and when you get a Beastmaster ahead, those boars really do quite a bit when you're dealing with a melee carry on the enemy side, even if it is a more elusive one like Slark. Snowball in the river area. They're going to catch out the Dazzle with the Rocket Barrage damage to follow up. Dazzle's going to be dropped low, has the Shallow Grave to delay, looking for some backup from the rest of his team, but I don't think it's going to be there. He'll trade as much damage as possible, but it's not near enough.
They'll secure the bounty rune for their team as well, so it's a pretty nice kill there coming out from this supporting duo. We could already see how much burst damage and really how much control they have. If they do catch someone obviously in that really narrow corridor, able to block off the entirety of the escape path of the shards, then the Rocket Barrage is guaranteed there pretty much to get the full damage output in, and that's even going through a Dazzle. He has a heal, he has a Shallow Grave, and, well, there was no help there from Yellow Submarine, granted, but they're going to smoke up and look for round 2. Tusk going to chow down on his Mango, and they're looking for the Slark. They're going to have to open up, though, with a Primal Roar. That's going to have to come kind of randomly, or at least pseudo-randomly from Niqua. Spartan. Well, it's going to be Milan to have the smoke blown first. There's a Dire Observer Ward right there. So they know that the Gyrocopter's in the area. They don't know where Spartan is. But I think Tron knows pretty much that there's someone in the area, therefore he shouldn't be playing too aggressively in lane.
He'll just back off, go into his jungle, and he's going to be completely safe. This is a pretty big stack for Slark to be picking up, and although it'll take him a couple of Dark Packs, will secure his Midas and then some. So Tron is going to be catching back up into this game sooner rather than later if mYinsanity can't start picking up some momentum. And really it is the rotations that they're attempting up in the top lane that will get them back into this game, but unfortunately for them, this one will bear no fruits.
Even though they're 3 kills behind, they are farming really rapidly. Nico Baby is still keeping up in the last hits on the bottom lane. Same thing for Thug. Granted, a lot of them probably are going to be from those lesser value neutrals, but still Nico Baby, he's getting his farm up. He has Power Treads, he has his Soul Ring, and the rest of the team, including Niqua, actually not doing too terribly compared to the net worth of the Yellow Submarine. Really, it's only the Queen of Pain who's doing truly well. The Slark's having to deal with so many heroes has been in a little bit of a rough situation. He's going to teleport up towards top. There are heroes in the area that are still spotted by this Dire Observer Ward. And there's a hook shot in. Gonna catch Spartan. He does have a snowball. He's gonna launch it right into the Clockwork and then try to disengage away. Cogs do not catch him. The missile's gonna fly, which will slow him down even more. Spartan walls himself off. I guess there was no escape from there anyway, but is all 5 heroes from Yellow Submarine on this top lane. They better get a tower after committing this many heroes here.
And they need to do it quickly because Nico Baby is pressuring the tower in bottom and Shadow Fiend is going to be pushing the tower in mid. Both of these are at about half HP. I don't think mYinsanity will be able to get both of them, but right now Yellow Sub just aren't really in a situation where they can defend. Tier 1 tower in mid is not glyphable, but maybe they can kill off the Shadow Fiend in trade. The tower is going to be denied by the Dazzle. Thug's going to be blinked upon by Barrage. They'll look for one raise, but the Queen of Pain's way too tanky. Sonic Wave will be enough, but with a triple raise, he'll get himself the Dazzle kill. So at least something in trade for the Shadow Fiend. Zip in, no mana on Barrage, will be pulled back into the Remnant damage, but barely has enough for the blink. Right into a Rocket Barrage. Milan is there and ready to get that return kill. An absolute mess in the mid lane, favoring mYinsanity, with the exception being that tower denial.
Yeah, the tower denial hurts, losing the Shadow Fiend hurts as well, but Nico Baby's starting to kick into gear right now. Still has a little bit more until he's truly comfortable joining these fights, but still, they kill off the Queen of Pain, who's worth the most on the map. And, well, getting the tower down, I think, is substantial enough, because losing the tower, or dropping the tower, means they can do stuff like this. Have Nuke Baby wrap around, look for Windex, ball lightning in, not going to connect with the damage, but Windex stands still. Here comes Spartan, looking to cut off his retreat with those shards. Rocket Barrage going to start firing. They have a call down as well. They'll throw it into Tron and Windex both. That'll slay the Night Stalker and Tron. Well, he's taking a lot of damage into the Shadow Dance. He's going to try to go for Milan, but he's not going to get close enough. The homing missile is going to connect and slow him down enough so that he can't go for this kill. In fact, using another pact on himself, dropping himself even weaker. Niku Baby and now Niku are going to join the fray. They see this Queen of Pain teleporting in. They have a Hawk overhead, so it's Yellow Submarine with a vast vision advantage. Miposhka going to get the jump in on the Tusk, kill him off with the Cogs. And the Queen of Pain can help out in that one as well. Looks like Yellow Submarine will kill off the Tusk for the upteenth time. But still, for mYinsanity, it's a pretty decent exchange. It's just Tusk for the Night Stalker, and Thug, he's pushing down the bottom lane in the meantime.
Gyrocopter support really starts to shine at about this time. When you rotate your Gyrocopter, even if it's played as a carry, at about the 10 to 15 minute mark, all of the damage is going to be coming out from your spells. Gyrocopter has gone for more of the homing missile max build this game, but still call down so amazing. Despite not having any farm on the hero, other than arcane boots and the small items that you'd expect to have on a support, looks like a 4-staffer mech is in the works for the Gyro. He's still doing quite a lot. Nightstalker is going to be stalking Thug. He has some backup coming out from the Dazzle. Can they get this kill by themselves? Thug has power treads, Wand as well as an Ogre Club. They'll drop 2 wards behind the tower and not get any kills. They'll roar onto the Dazzle. One raise is all that they need to get that kill. Snowball forward. The Nightstalker spitting off way more than he can chew. Call down onto the ground. The Queen of Pain's coming in from the sidelines. They need to get a return kill if this is going to be worth it. Thug is low, but they don't really want to commit. They have a decent amount of vision with the wards that were placed, but they're stacked on top of each other and they don't exactly know who came in from the left. So that's not going to mean much of anything except for 2 free kills for mYinsanity. Way too aggressive for the Dazzle and Nightstalker. Go into the Shadow Fiend alone, and I can only expect that that's what they thought was there.
Dazzle offers pretty much nothing as far as offensive power is concerned. And Nightstalker, if he was lane mid lane, perhaps, yeah, he would have enough in the tank to actually go for that kill on the Shadow Fiend and not worry about that much. But you're diving a hero who's literally right next to his tier 1 tower, so someone is going to be coming in. And pretty much anyone who comes in there for the mYinsanity side is going to be able to substantially disrupt the gank, whether it's through a snowball, whether it's through a roar, a call down, like anything mYinsanity have will mess up that gank with just those 2 soft earth support heroes from the Yellow Submarine side. So just way too ambitious coming out from them. That's gonna, gonna make the kill score a little bit closer. 2 tied right now, but 9-10, and this Thug Shadow Fiend is getting a hell of a lot. SNY is gonna be built up. Nico Baby should have his Bloodstone very close to completion. He's a 1 booster away from the Soul Booster and then Recipe, so he's not too far away. He's getting there. It's still only 14 minutes in the game, and for Yellow Submarine, yeah, they have had Tron get a lot of free time with this Midas, but even still with that, his net worth is not comparable to the Storm Spirit or the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, he'll be pooling gold probably for a Shadow Blade or a Blink, but even once he gets that Shadow Blade or Blink, these targets on mYinsanity's side are not the easiest to solo kill, and he's going to have to group up with the rest of his team, probably the Queen of Pain or Clockwork, maybe even both, depending on how aggressive the rotation they're going for is. So it's still, although a close game, it kind of feels like mYinsanity are the ones to have momentum.
And they will have a little bit more momentum in just a little bit. They've been clearing out a pretty sizable stack of Ancients with the Beastmaster axes. Not maxed out, so it's not going as fast as it can be. But he's well on his way to his Necrobook. He should have it at about the same time Nikwebi is going to have his completed Bloodstone, and Thug will have his Sanjin Yasha. And though it's not really like the most crushing of timings, like it's not like Radiance BKB all at the same time or whatever, it's still a lot of items at the same time, and for Yellow Submarine, they really won't have any comparable items at that same time. Queen of Pain is getting really close to her Aghanim Scepter. Granted, that's very nice, but no one else on their team, except for the Clockwork, has really anything in the works. The Slark especially needs to get an item, and he needs to get it up quick, because the aggression is going to start to ramp up for mYinsanity. In fact, they're already going pretty deep. Right over a Dire Observer Ward, so this probably isn't going to be getting any kills, but it's going to be getting a tower.
They'll smoke right over towards the right side of that ward, but I don't think it spotted them out, or at the very least, it's not being pinged by Yellow Sub. They'll look for the wraparound onto the Slark, and Tusk is going to ping right where they're waiting for those kills. Looks like it's not going to find anything. Yellow Sub, whether they saw that smoke or not, aren't going to be caught out by it, at least for now.
So that's a smoke unsuccessful there from mYinsanity. Still, they put a lot of pressure up on top lane. Have to deal with the bottom lane because the Yellow Submarine were applying just as much pressure down there, maybe even more. It was, in the grand scheme of things, an even tier 1 for a tier 1 trade, both the safe lane towers going down, but still mYinsanity, they're on the hunt. They have the roar and they're itching to use it. SNY completed on the Shadow Fiend, and up towards top, Nico Baby is going to get into a little bit of a fight with Tron. He's actually going to pull him back, look to force out that ultimate. It's not going to be used there from Tron. Good restraint. He could actually heal up a little bit without that. Nico Baby, he's going to get hook shot in. Sprosh going to throw the Sonic Wave, which will kill a Storm Spirit before he gets the ball ending out. And the rest of mYinsanity, they are here. But do they actually want to go in without the Storm Spirit? That's a tough call to make. Calldown's going to have to land on everyone. Or they need a good Requiem. And if they want to take this fight well, it seems like Miposhka, he's going to circle around, has a flare to give them some vision, shards, and mYinsanity are just looking to leave. And it looks like they should all be able to.
Hawk will be killed off by Slark's Pact, and it is a pretty interesting interaction between Slark and Beastmaster being able to move around that vision, but hopefully that lag will subside shortly. Storm Spirit playing very aggressively up against that Slark. That's not a play you make unless you know exactly where the rest of the enemy team is, and I think he spotted out a couple in mid with the wards that are there from mYinsanity. They do offer a lot of good vision for that rotation, but just didn't see the Clockwork, or didn't expect him to line up that hook. Clock going to walk right into a beast nest of enemy heroes, but they'll focus down Milan. The cooldown's still there, and the Requiem will be unwound. Sonic Wave again, because Brush does have the Aghanim Step for point blank snowball. The damage just isn't coming out from the Shadow Fiend. Roar onto the Night Stalker. Can they focus him down? Looks like Windex will die. Well, Shallow Grave will buy him a little bit more space, but Nico Baby's jumping in. We'll get the pullback onto the Queen of Pain, but a blink and TP by both her and the Dazzle should keep them safe. There's just not a great way for them to cancel those. All things considered, it's a pretty even trade. Support Gyrocopter for support Night Stalker, but Yellow Sub gets some space on their Slark, whereas mYinsanity have to commit pretty much everybody.
We can see already the value of this Aghanim Scepter coming to play on this Queen of Pain, being able to use the Sonic Wave first to kill off the Storm Spirit, then again shortly after to get the kill on the Gyrocopter, and hey, she has it up again for this upcoming defense. This is a big nuke, guys. This is a 450 damage worth of conal nuke, and if mYinsanity get hit with like 2 heroes by that, then it's bad times for them. Barash is going to keep himself safe from that Hawk. It seems like mYinsanity still are sitting on this top lane. They do have the Bloodstone finally coming out on the Storm Spirit, plus they actually do have Thug with the DD rune. I was going to say that it's about time to fall back, but after having a double damage on Shadow Fiend, it might be the time to actually push forward a little bit more.
Yeah, and they get a big item on the Storm Spirit. His Bloodstone is fresh and ready. Didn't get any charges from that Night Stalker kill, but now Slark coming around the corner. Will Midas one of the creeps pretty cheekily, but I'm not sure if this is a fight that Yellow Sub really want to take. It all depends on how the initiation goes down. If Clockwork's able to find a good angle, and if Queen of Pain can get a good Sonic Wave off, but it looks like mYinsanity want to brute force this. The weave that's been applied to them is about half through durations, so if they fight now, would be pretty poor for them, but I think it will expire before any large skirmish is had. And Yellow Sub seem to be pretty disinterested with contesting. They're going to be pushing mid and dropping the Clockwork down into the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to grab the Shadow Blade on the Slark, and that's definitely an item worth waiting for, especially since you won't expect this as mYinsanity, so you probably won't have a ton of detection. In fact, do they have any? They actually have 0 detection right now, so this will be a surprise coming out from Yellow Submarine and will help them make the defense that much easier. Over towards mid lane, they're going to try to go for this tier 1. They're not going super fast, though. At least not nearly as fast as mYinsanity. In fact, they're going to teleport the Gyrocopter back just for the call down. They have to respect the hook shot. Here comes another TP. It's the Shadow Fiend. Cogs go up. Everyone's coming in. In fact, Thug's going to snowball right in, trying to go for this Clockwork, but they get hit with the Sonic Wave immediately after. That's a Tusk dead. Nico is going to jump in, though, onto Windex. The silence has already been used on Thug. Double damage rune on the Shadow Fiend. Yeah, he's going to miss a couple of those shots, but the Storm Spirit will not claim the kill on the Night Stalker. Again, it's a 1-for-1 support trade, but the towers go in favor of mYinsanity. They're the ones to claim a tier 2. They don't lose anything in exchange, but Yellow Submarine still have the Shadow Blade on Slark, and now he's actually ready to get in this game. He's in second place in the net worth, although not really by much. He is a threat that mYinsanity are kind of ill-equipped to deal with their draft.
mYinsanity would still be happy even if they lost that tier 1 tower in mid, since it would have been a tier 1 for tier 2 trade, but it's not even something they have to really worry about. The difference between the top net worth and the fourth net worth is really very thin. Between all of them, 600 gold or so, all that separates the Slark, Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, and Storm Spirit. Down below that, it gets a little bit wider, the gap between the heroes, but even that, everybody's pretty much on parity with their lane equivalent on the enemy team. So this game is very close, and that's reflected in the graphs. The advantage for either side hasn't really been much more than 1,000 this entire game. A little bit more in the experience graph for yellow is up, about a 3,000 advantage there, but still very tight.
Yeah, if the graph says 500 anywhere, then you know that the game is going to be very, very close, and almost like to the point of it being negligible. Up towards top lane, if Nightstalker, okay, never mind, they're not going to get Nico Baby. He sees this one coming with the Observer Ward, which is now pinged out by Yellow Submarine. They don't know exactly where it is, but they know that they were spotted coming in. Nico Baby does have to fear that Nightstalker silence. It's level 1 right now. It's not going to last a ton of time, but it is nighttime, and it is a 5-second silence versus the Storm Spirit. When you have a Clockwork and Queen of Pain jump in after that Storm and a Slark as well, then there's not much that you could do about that as a Storm Spirit, except for Hope Spartan's in the area for a Snowball. We have a smoke up now from mYinsanity. They're going to slide right into the Roche Pit, and it should be them to claim it pretty quickly. Yellow Submarine are completely blind to this. They're all up on top lane going for this tower, which is nice, but Yellow Submarine can clear this, or mYinsanity rather, can clear this Roshan out really quickly. They have the Rocket Barrage, they have the Medallion, they have Presence of the Dark Lord level 3, and between the Boar and the Sigil, Roshan's not really attacking at all.
They'll lose a tier 1 tower top, but that's a small price to pay. That tier 1 tower offers little to no map control, maybe a bit over the secret shop, but nobody really cares about it, and you'd much rather have the second life. But it's picked up by the Beastmaster. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I think Shadow Fiend was the one that wanted to pick up that. He had an empty slot and everything, so a potential misclick. But they still get the Roshan experience in gold. At worst, it's an even trade, and at best, that finds them a good initiation. Over onto the Clockwork, they are going to jump, but the follow-up isn't there. Nico Baby is not going to be hookshot. It is going to be wide towards the right, so nothing happened effectively. Everybody will just go back to where they came from.
Here's a Bloodstone Oblivion Staff as well, so the mana regeneration is pretty high for the Storm Spirit. I really don't see the upside here of putting the Aegis on the Beastmaster. Thug and Nico Baby will both be able to use a double life much, much better than that Beastmaster. And Beastmaster's already pretty difficult to kill off. Like, 1300 HP, 7 armor is really no joke. Granted, yeah, Shadow Fiend does have a little bit more. In fact, Storm Spirit has more as well, but Aegis on Nikwa, is that really going to be doing that much? I don't really think it is. They're going to try to dig a hole deep and use the advantage that's given to them by the Hawk and by the Sigil for the vision. They're just trying to out-vision Yellow Submarine on this bottom lane, but Yellow Submarine playing pretty far away, have a Flare, tool of their own to get some vision. Barrage gonna throw a Sonic Wave, connect onto 2. It's not going to get any kills, but the cooldown is so low, they might as well go for it until Barrage actually gets jumped on. He's going to get force staffed out, pulled right back into the second missile, but he still will survive. Thug going to go right behind the tier 1 tower. Hookshot's not going to connect Thug, though. Slow to a crawl. Really wish he had the Aegis right about now. He's going to try to go for the Requiem. Will get it off. Death Requiem as well. He's going to drop Mihoshka really, really low, but Storm Spirit hasn't really jumped into this fight yet. It's Queen of Pain to buy back. They'll try to go for the Clockwork. Rave won't hold. Snowball will save Nico for a little while, but he'll end up losing the Aegis in the end. Now they're onto Spartan. Pounce will kill him off, and the Beastmaster is going to arrive into a whole mess of heroes. He will get his TP canceled, and he will go down in a 1-for-4 trade in favor of Yellow Submarine. Who has this Force Staff? Was it the Clockwork? Yeah, that Clockwork Force Staff just saved their bacon.
It looked like Shadow Fiend almost got off his Requiem, but he changes the animation for a short raise and doesn't get either of them through. The Death Requiem did a little bit of damage, but imagine that fight if Storm Spirit feels comfortable enough to dive headlong into the enemy team and actually go for that play. He did survive, but yeah, the Aegis on the Beastmaster did next to nothing. I'm tempted to say that that's just a straight-up misclick. There's no advantage for it. His second life was pretty worthless. So mYinsanity, despite getting Roshan, maybe got baited into a subpar fight. But really, it does come down to pretty good plays from Yellow Sub that pull that through, especially the Force Staff play from their side. Clockwork, his hookshot inside that fight left some to be desired, but he makes up for it.
Yeah, make one mistake, make one great play, and it all kind of cancels out in the end. Maybe Thug got interrupted with that ultimate cast by something that we didn't see, like a battery assault or something. I didn't see anything cancel that, but it seems like he just decided to cancel it. Or it got canceled, let's say. If he did get that full Requiem off with the Death Requiem, it would have been definitely a much more even fight. He will have the BKB very soon, so the Requiem is going to be that much easier to actually cast. There's a hook shot to cancel it for a little bit, but that's nothing too substantial there coming out from Yellow Submarine. mYinsanity just lost a lot of momentum right there. After claiming that Aegis for tier 1 trade, you would expect them to just go in for these pushes and get away, maybe with even a couple of kills to boot without losing much in response. But now dropping those heroes, dropping that team fight really hard down on the bottom lane, and it seems like they're going to, ball ending in, try to go for Tron, but that's not going to result into much. Tron is getting a lot of farm, has a BKB of his own.
Yeah, Nico Baby's still doing fine for himself since he didn't die, sitting at a very healthy amount of Bloodstone charges, 11, and he has the Orchid flying out to himself, and BKB is up for the Shadow Fiend. They're still in fighting shape, mYinsanity, and as this game goes later, they have a lot of heroes that can transition and offer a lot of utility for the team. So this game is by no means over for either side. It's still incredibly close. And the advantage, and after that, Roshan still wasn't going to peak over 1,000 gold. It's really quite incredible how close this game really is.
I think it's really weird how Yellow Submarine were able to get that many kills, and the gold graph is like unchanged. The gold graph doesn't give a damn that Yellow Submarine won that fight. Somehow mYinsanity are still keeping up just with their sheer farming speed of the Shadow Fiend and Storm Spirit being able to push kind of aggressively into the enemy territory and get the farm there as well. Did something happen?
What happened? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it must have been good, right? Otherwise they wouldn't have said anything. Damn it. Corrupt Drop Bear, I hope you were watching. Because I didn't see anything. Oh well, guys. Yeah, the 322 has been called, but it's not really going to mean anything just yet. Once again, we have Tron on the hunt. NiKoBaby's shoving this top lane very aggressively. Big Ball Lightning into Kant right now. Instantly gets hookshot. And here comes Barrage with the Sonic Wave. Ball Lightning out. Storm Spirit Ball Lightning out again. Is there anything to cancel this? It is not going to cancel, but it will be killed off, the Storm Spirit. And yeah, that was pretty aggressive from the Storm Spirit to go for that by himself. The support that he had was like in mid lane.
Yeah, I don't really understand that play. If you take a look at the vision, although right now it is diminished by the darkness that was popped when they went for that Storm Spirit, it's around the top river area and around the bottom river area. Neither of those wards would allow you to go for that play comfortably, and he found the entire enemy team. He almost gets away with it, but horseshoes and hand grenades, Storm Spirit's going to eat the ladder.
And he still has a couple of Bloodstone charges. He did respawn very quickly because he has been accruing those up at a pretty decent clip. But throwing your Storm Spirit away for absolutely nothing, generally not a good trade, or not a good play, let's say. We do have the rest of mYinsanity, though, this time with the Necro units already summoned, so they're not going to be up for a very long time looking for a kill. They're going to run into content. This time the Dazzle has no backup. He's going to get roared and obliterated shortly. No time for even a grave. Up towards top lane, NiKoBaby going to get into a fight with Tron. This is not a man fight the Storm Spirit is going to win, but he does have the mobility and the Orchid. That won't kill off Tron. In fact, he'll pop the BKB for it. This is 10 seconds of magic immunity for the Slark. He'll chase after NiKoBaby, knowing that he has low mana. I don't know if he has enough damage to quite get there, though. Pounce going to be dodged. Sonic Wave as well. Now here comes the call down. NiKoBaby's still alive. The double missile is going to land onto Tron. Still using static. Remnant damage. Blink screams. NiKoBaby's still surviving. He's still juking, but he will eventually go down. But here comes the rest of the team. Axes will be thrown. Tron going to try TP out, but the snowball will kill him off. And that will be a 2-for-1 trade after all is said and done. Trading Storm Spirit for Slark. That's a little bit better for mYinsanity.
I think the moral of the story is carry detection. Had they had dust or sentries on the gyrocopter, they would have been able to kill off that Slark without any trouble. If they spot him while he's Shadow Bladed, he doesn't get near enough regen, and they're able to drop all of that Rock Barrage. And since it was just the Slark to eat it, would have been huge. Snowball in mid going to be attempted, not going to jump into the Clockwork. In fact, it materializes right on top of a cog, so that's not going to mean anything. It's not terrible for mYinsanity, but Storm Spirit dying twice in quick succession now means that his Bloodstone's looking pretty darn sad. Down to 4 charges.
Yeah, so he's becoming less of a factor, and therefore Thug needs to be getting more farm and needs to be staying alive in these fights, and also Yellow Submarine needs to be focused more. Still having NiKoBaby with this Bloodstone at all, and also with this Orchid at a pretty decent timing, makes him a significant threat. So, fewer Bloodstone charges, obviously not as good, but he still has enough to force some attention from the Yellow Submarine side. At the very least, should be a crippling fear coming out from Wind. They're going to catch Kant potentially again. He's going to get close to the hill, see them coming with the Observer Ward. In fact, 2 Observer Wards right next to each other will be cleaned up by Niqua. Good game sense there to realize that he was being spotted. But 15-19, and Storm Spirit without many Bloodstone charges. Well, he's going to first of all have to limp back to the base. But the rest of the team in the meantime, up on top lane, no smoke. Yellow Submarine know that they were here. If they had a Blink Dagger on Beastmaster or Aghanims for the longer Roar initiation range, maybe they could kill on the Slark. But without Storm Spirit, I don't really see it happening.
That was such a close call for the Storm Spirit too, and the flare from the Clockwork is going to be juked out. He would have died to that. That was not pretty.
He's going to get Walrus punched up, pops the BKB, turns around, but it's Kant in the most trouble right now. Milan's going to take him down by himself. Tron's BKB didn't really do that much. Now he just has to bail out of here. Clockwork might come in from the south. He will. Catch a 2-man cog, but here comes the BKB Requiem. Barrage is going to throw his Sonic Wave through a whole bunch of heroes, but now he's going to take a couple of hits as well. With the raises, he'll go down. Still, Milan is somehow alive. Gyrocopter doing double duty in that fight. Wind X, he's going to get hit with the shards, although it won't trap him in. NiKoBaby used a lot of his mana to get into this fight, and it looks like he won't be able to continue it. But it's a 1-for-3 trade in favor of mYinsanity. I don't know how the hell Gyrocopter survived for that long, but he did so much damage with so many rocket barrages.
Milan's positioning in that was pretty awesome. It was, yeah, Gyrocopter doing work and still being relevant despite not having any more items than 4-staff arcanes. That was just rocket barrage after rocket barrage after rocket barrage, killing up the Slark, but now Slark buys back. They want to keep on going, zip away from the Storm Spirit. They're trying to run away, but this is an Agnum's Night Stalker that's pursuing them. I have no idea how those creeps ended up in there, but they're there somehow. Tron is going to get the pounce over on Nika Baby. Silenced up for a million years. We forced a Bloodstone Suicide. Spartan is going to go into the Snowball, but that's hardly going to save his life. Hookshot in. They catch out Thug going for the Shadow Fiend. The Snowball will commence. Stuns all three of them, but Thug has no Requiem, has no BKB, and has no hope. There is a Beastmaster Warren. Maybe he has a little bit of hope. They'll kill off one with the Death Requiem, adding some extra damage on top of it all. Tron will continue chasing with the Shadowblade, can run forward. Tron really wants to get these extra bit of kills since he was forced to buy back, and they will be able to get Nikwa. Buy back from the Storm Spirit. TP to the tier 2 tower, zipping in long range, going for the Slark kill, and will succeed with only 3 Bloodstone charges. His regen isn't that impressive. Won't be able to find anything else, I don't think. Although the Dazzle is going to be walking by Radiant Vision shortly. It's darkness, so that vision is actually very short. 4-staff forward. They've barely evaded finding that Dazzle kill, but absolute mess in the top lane.
The Slark did just buy back. So mYinsanity know that there's a minute where they will not have to deal with the Slark, and with no Slark to worry about, the damage output from Yellow Submarine absolutely plummets. Granted, mYinsanity only have a Storm Spirit here to really be doing damage in this main fight as well, but ball landing in though, they're going to catch Conf right now. He gets silencing away, but still with the right click, they should be able to kill off this Dazzle before he gets the Grave off, and they will. Barrage stuck in the cooldown, will get Walrus punched up, second missile going to connect, but that'll be the death of both the Gyrocopter and the Tusk. Hookshot not going to connect onto Nico Baby, in fact going to jump him to the neutrals. Nico should be able to just walk away from this Clockwork, even with 4-staff. Nico Baby actually no going to get chased down by Barrage as well. He has another Ball Lightning, which won't get him super far away, but probably far enough. Barrage not able to keep up. Now here comes Nikwa. He's going to threaten the Roar, instantly gets silenced. Scream as well, dropping pretty low just by the right clicks of Barrage, but Thug is something that Yellow Submarine will be scared of, and they will fall back shortly after. They dive in really, really deep there, and Tusk, Gyrocopter, the positioning is what has to keep them alive, and when you're going into a funnel like that, it's a lot hard to get good positioning. They end up taking a 2-for-1 not in their favor.
The end trade when it comes to buybacks is 1 on the Slark for 1 on the Storm Spirit. A pretty even trade on both sides, but the Storm really is playing things very dangerously. And Nika Baby's kind of fallen behind 6-5 and 3. His Bloodstone's still only at 4 charges, despite being involved in a lot of these kills. He seems to be dying pretty much every time. Nika Baby now Agnum Scepter complete on the Clockwork. I'm sure he wish he had that to chase down the Storm Spirit a little while ago, but now that that's online, things are going to start getting a little bit more sketchy for mYinsanity. The Storm Spirit initiations aren't very guaranteed because once he commits, he doesn't have enough regen to where he can get out or no defensive items to keep himself safe when he's in.
Oh, they're going to look for a smoke right now, but there's an Observe Ward here from the Dire. Well, looks like it's not actually going to be a smoke. They delivered it? They're holding on to it. Yeah, it's on the Tusk right now, so good that mYinsanity didn't use that one there, but they're looking for a fight, and should a fight happen, yeah, they'd have a double damage on the Shadow Fiend, but they're once again going to be walking into a funnel. And against a Queen of Pain who has that Conal Nuke, that's exactly what you don't want to be doing. Flares, birds, boars, sigils are going to be getting vision for both sides, but it's a smoke up for Yellow Submarine. They're looking for blood, but they'll have to walk up high ground.
Hookshot forward, they catch Nika Baby. They'll silence him up. The Storm Spirit doesn't really have much hope, but he gets bounced back by those cogs. I have no idea how that worked. He's not going to survive, however. Queen of Pain is able to secure the kill. Shallow Grave up in the high ground. The Clockwork tries to get out of here alive. Spartan's isolated. Hookshot into Milan, but a face full of Rock Barrage will meet the Clockwork as he goes down. This is going well for mYinsanity. Despite losing their Storm, Tron is going to take a lot of Rocket Barrage. 1 raise will connect. Do they have the sufficient chasing power? They have a 4-staff in by the Gyrocopter, but Slark is juked down towards the south. A 2-for-2 support and mid for, or actually support and safe laner for offlaner and mid. Regardless, it might not be over yet. Slark is still hunting, but he probably shouldn't be. This is a 1-for-3, even if he decides to go for it. Now with that army of summons, Nico is just right around the corner. Slark is under a sentry. He knows he's been spotted. Could be in a lot of trouble here. They have no roar. 40 seconds till that's available, so not going to be relevant. They'll throw a missile, but Tron is well out to safety and now has some friends.
Yeah, that's where the lack of CC really starts to hurt mYinsanity. They had Slark in their sights for a long time, and they'll throw another missile to keep him, kind of tabs on him. But now they're going to try to go into the Roche Pit. Yeah, there's no Clockwork, no Queen of Pain, but still, they don't have nearly enough to fight this one just yet. They need to wait for Niqua to get, Nika Baby rather, to get just a little bit closer. Thug is going to go into the pit by himself. Has no Requiem, though he does have BKB very soon. Tron is going to be walking into not the best sentry range here, coming out from mYinsanity. There's no Necrobook either. Niqua going to get dropped immediately by Tron, very, very low. He's going to get the kill, in fact. Here comes a big jump, though, from Nika Baby. Will kill off Khan and also grab Wind. Tron, in the meantime, fighting 1v3. Will kill off Spartan. Actually drop Milan very low before it's at the high ground. Keep him alive for a little while longer. Nika Baby's going to try to give him some support. Raises from the low ground. Thug doesn't quite have enough. Sonic Wave will kill off the Gyrocopter as now Tron's being chased down. Has a Shadow Blade in 3 seconds. Pounce out. Nika Baby out of mana. The missile is still following, but with the regen, Slark should be fine. They get the silence onto Barrage. Now here comes Thug with the BKB. They'll get the hookshot on Nika Baby, kill him off, and Thug's going to wind up another Requiem. That'll do pretty much nothing. Slark somehow survives, and now he's going to look to reinitiate on Thug with the Shadow Dance. Well, that's going to be at full HP. Slark and Thug will drop, leading a full 5-man wipe in favor of Yellow Submarine. They need more crowd control for this Slark, but mYinsanity simply don't have it.
Fights like that are exactly what Slark excels at, where it's very scrappy, spread out, not a lot of focus fire, and he's able to just barely escape 2 times inside that last fight, or he's able to heal up enough to where he can reinitiate. And Tron, by the end of it, had 27 Essence Shift stacks at max, but even now is still hitting with 21 as he goes for a Sean. Tron is low, but now outside of vision will start healing up, gets himself an Aegis, and Yellow Sub are right back on their feet.
This is going to be really hard for mYinsanity to deal with. They've already struggled to kill off Tron throughout the entirety of this game. They killed him off 3 times, which is not bad, but he has double life now, and that's, you know, first of all, really hard to deal with. Then he also has what looks like an Eye of Scotty, close to being completed. No, it's actually, for the most part, completed as soon as the courier finishes his delivery route. It's an Eye of Scotty on Slark, which is a lot of HP, and he's going to be nigh unkillable. Even if mYinsanity get, like, a random roar on him, I don't know if they have enough sheer burst damage to kill him off before Dazzle's either able to get the Grave off, or the Slark is able to get the Shadow Blade or Shadow Dance off. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Right now, they're running into an issue where Nika Baby needs more items on the Storm Spirit to have the impact that he wants to inside these fights. A 2-charge Bloodstone is hardly super important, although it is what Storm Spirit is committed for. He really needs BKB and Scythe, it feels like, to have the sufficient lockdown initiation that they need. Now Slark is on the warpath. He knows he hasn't been spotted. He's going deep, but won't be able to find a clean opening. Instead, they're just going to open up into this tier 2. And Yellow Sub probably will be able to take this out. The Gyrocopter as a support is starting to fall off.
Windex as the Night Stalker is going to get this true map hack vision going, has the gem and the Ags, so wherever he goes, he'll spot all the wards, he'll spot all the Hawks, all the things from mYinsanity will be spotted by this Night Stalker as long as nighttime will hold, and it's going to be up for quite a long time. Plus he has level 2 ultimate, soon to be level 3, so lots of nighttime in the future for mYinsanity. Yeah, this Storm Spear for Nika Baby hasn't gotten an item since Orchid, and that was like, what, 20 minutes or something like that? It's been a very, very long time since he's picked up an item last, and he will need not just one item, as you said, BKB and Sheepstick, or like BKB plus Shivas, some sort of 2-item combination is what he needs, but he's just not finding the farm. He's very quickly falling behind. Thug is kind of keeping up, but Thug, we could see, is not able to man-fight successfully with the Slark.
And even the Queen of Pain, he struggles quite a bit against. She's very tanky, and Shadowfiend's invested into a lot of defensive items. His damage just isn't sufficient at this point. That's pretty much the summation of mYinsanity's problems, but coming back into this game is going to rely on a lot of pinpoint initiations, which they very well could find with the Blink on this Beastmaster available. Tusk with Force Staff could also find some good openings, but in a brute force engagement, I think that Yellow Sub have it since they have BKB on this Slark. He really doesn't have to worry about it much.
And getting any sort of pick off, though, that would be usually the plan, is impossible if they don't have a smoke. Like, the Night Stalker is going to see them coming every single time, and you won't be able to surprise them with anything but that, I guess, unpierceable True Sight. And as you pointed out, there is no smoke here from the mYinsanity side, so getting pickoffs, actually getting out on the map to get wards up, damn near impossible up against this Night Stalker, who is, you know, usually going to fall off. He's not going to get his necessary farm. Didn't really have the best start, but with this Aghanim Scepter is providing so much value to his team right now. And Yellow Submarine, they are going to play this really slow. They still have the Aegis on the Slark with a double damage rune as well. They're definitely very hesitant about brute forcing up this high ground, but I think they probably can get away with it.
Yeah, definitely. So, the smoke timer was incorrect. That's actually a yellow sub smoke timer. mYinsanity is a minute 30. I have no idea why it pings the wrong one, but who knows. Yellow sub, double damage rune on Slark is going to expire, and it looks like they're not going to fully commit for this window anyway. They'll wait for the Queen of Pain slide the bites, which is fair enough, I suppose, since Brush had that flying out. But these darknesses are so annoying for mYinsanity to deal with. If you take a look at their vision, they have none. It's been constantly de-awarded, and right now, even the creep waves aren't seeing that far. It's pretty absurd.
That's going to force mYinsanity into their base. That's going to restrict where the Storm Spirit can actually get farm in a safe manner, and he needs so much of it. Slark is on the top lane by himself, still with the Aegis, but we can see mYinsanity, they're so scared right now that they're not even going to try to go for that. They know that there's a couple heroes down in this bottom lane, but they don't exactly know the extent of it. And Slark will be able to farm wherever he wants, get his next item. Probably it's Silver Edge time for him as his next item. Maybe it's Travels time. Maybe it's get something for the Aegis when that expires. But pretty much no matter what it is, it's going to be coming up very quickly, and it won't be met by any substantial item from the mYinsanity side. Yellow Submarine played this one really, really slow. It looks like they actually don't want to push with this Aegis, which is a little bit questionable. But it seems like they know that they have this if this game does extend because of the map control, the map lockdown that the Night Stalker is offering them. So, though I'd like to see them push, I think this is also a justifiable way to play.
Aegis is now expired. Tron is going to replace that Aegis with a Basher. I like his item choices, but maybe even more important for the Slark is the fact that Night Stalker has a Solar Crest. I don't think that mYinsanity can kill off this Slark if he has Solar Crest on him. They just don't have the appropriate damage. His health pool is too high, can very easily disengage and pop that ultimate. Now with Darkness, it feels like mYinsanity going for a last-ditch effort to go for a push, but looking for TP cancels. Tron not gonna get the first hit bash, but they cancel one with the Scythe, and they get a bash on a Spartan. These two heroes are completely isolated from the rest of their team. Snowball will help. Sonic Wave is going to drop down an equal low, and Spartan's going to be ripped apart by the blade of Tron, and Yellow Sub find themselves with two big pickoffs. Even without Aegis, they might be able to push, but down in the bottom fight, Clockwork has been picked off. Now Stormspirit's going to forward a thing. Kill off Windex, that'd be huge. He is holding onto the gem. So many misses between the Crippling Fear and the Solar Crest. You just can't hit the guy, and Night Stalker will casually run back towards the rest of his team.
2 for 1 for Yellow Submarine, and that was a great split of focus on the top lane. Sheepstick onto one, the Slark going towards the other. And you would expect a bash there. I think most of the time you get the bash cancel eventually, and ended up getting it on that Tusk. And now mYinsanity, it's just a small reminder that they really can't afford to go out, even as a squad, outside of their base without, first of all, getting a pick off. So Yellow Submarine make a really good trade down in this bottom lane. Still have yet to truly crack any of these objectives, but that's just like a show of force saying to mYinsanity that, hey, if you go outside your base, we will kill you off, and we will continuously kill you off until you actually let us into your base. Slark is almost 6-slotted, and, well, he's already unkillable. So he's going to be unkillable and doing more damage with an Abyssal and Silver Edge eventually.
Even if he doesn't go for the Silver Edge, replace the Midas with a Moon Shard for maximum attack speed, and then he can eat it later for another item slot. The items that Yellow Sub are getting are immense, and losing a Clockwork doesn't stop anything either. Clock has everything you could want as a Clockwork. Glimmer Force, Aghanim, Scepter is, I'm not going to say max build. There are other items that you can put on top of it, but he pretty much has luxury at this point.
Yeah, with 2 plate mail items, the Assault Cuirass, and or I guess there's 3 nowadays, but no, who gets the Lotus Orb? Seriously. 1 probably on the Night Stalker, 1 probably on the Clockwork, probably AC Shivas if they can get around that. There's a smoke up here for mYinsanity, but if they jump in right now, Yellow Submarine are right around the corner, ready to respond. Nick Baby's going to blow a smoke, spotted as well. Blink in, hookshot, silence. He has a BKB. Look at the Barrage Barrage. Can they focus down this Queen of Pain before she gets Sonic Wave? No. She'll get Grave for a little while longer, has a blink out. Sonic Wave will be deployed right through Thug, who's actually standing strong versus Tron for the moment, but soon he won't be able to. Cogs go up, trapping Milan right now. Thug's still firing from the back end. Good positioning from the Shadow Fiend, but he just doesn't have enough damage to compete up against this. He and Spartan are the only ones left, whereas for Tron, he's still kicking in really hard. He'll kill off Thug in an instant. He's going to get the pullback on to Slark, but that's not going to last very long. Snowball is there. Tron has to pounce out. He actually is going to die here. Nico Baby is going to draw that kill. 7 Bloodstone charges now, as they do see Windex with the ball lightning forward. Nico Baby is going to look to claim this Night Stalker, but now Crippling Fear, and the mischance is huge. Shards will connect, wall him off a little bit. Snowball is in 1 second with the Walrus Punch and the Medallion. They might be able to get this kill if they just get the vision. Snowball, I think Night Stalker will be able to outrun it, but he casts Darkness instead. Walrus Punch is there. Now Nico is going to circle around with more mana. He's going to jump forward and kill off. No, mischance. He will get the kill in the end. mYinsanity somehow win that fight. Thug's positioning was perfect.
It comes down to Thug's positioning and beautiful usage of their disables to not only get the kill on the Queen of Pain, but on all of the subsequent heroes for Yellow's sub. They locked down that Queen of Pain through a shallow grave. She wasn't able to blink. And at the very end of that, I really like the ward placement coming out from the Tusk to get that last snowball in. There is also another gem that was dropped on the ground about here. And it looks like the courier is going to claim that. So not only do mYinsanity get a lot of kills going the way Storm Spirit and Tusk surviving, they get 2 gems. That's a massive swing going into their favor. Slark is still on the top of the world, top of the net worth chart, 3,800 gold in the bank, could buy Abyssal if he forgoes buyback. But now mYinsanity open themselves up to go for this Roshan. It's not a very fast Roshan without the Shadow Fiend, but it is doable, and SF should be making his way over soon.
Yeah, the distribution of farm is really what we saw there on the Submarine side. They do have a Night Stalker and Clockwork who are decently farmed, but right off the bat, Queen of Pain was dropped. I think she did get her Sheepstick and, well, maybe not all of her items off. She definitely got a Sonic Wave off. Actually, no, jump in from Koshka. Gonna grab the Aegis of the Immortal. Big pick up there from the Clockwork. He'll get dropped immediately, but he's going to respawn into a call down at least, and, 5 heroes. He's gonna get punched up into the air. Force Staff attempted. Won't even get up to the high ground. He gives his life to deny the Aegis, but he has no buyback. I'm not entirely sure if that's worth it. This is actually a pretty big opportunity for mYinsanity. I'm really surprised that they actually, first of all, managed to take that fight. But again, good focus fire, good positioning from Thug. And now they have a big chance right now. Tron's going to get pulled back. He does have the pact. He'll pounce out of the pull. But they're going to jump forward looking for more. Kant to Windex, they're here as well. Glimmer out onto Kant as the Dazzle's going to try to get a little bit out to safety. We have a Snowball in for Spartan, potentially a little bit too deep. Gets Force Staffed out. Now here comes Thug. Call down is going to drop. Tron is going to jump out of it. And it looks like everyone else from the Submarine should be fine, except for this tower. The tower is definitely going to fall, but mYinsanity, they actually do have enough regen to actually continue this fight. Force Staff on Nikwebi. He got cheaped up, but he's not going to get dropped after that. They're onto Kant once again, trying to get rid of this problem with the Shadow Grave, and they will do so. Thug pops the BKB, gets put into the Snowball right now as Tron has his own BKB up, but he's struggling to actually find any targets. He has punch up in the air, and the Requiem is there, reducing his damage by a big margin. Has to leave. They're going to jump onto Windex with the Ball of Lightning. This Night Stalker doesn't have much hope now. No Crippling Fear mischance this time. He's going to die, and Yellow Submarine only have 2 heroes alive right now versus the 5 of mYinsanity. What a freaking comeback, man. They were down so much, yet look at the spike in that gold graph. And now they're looking at Rax's. 3 heroes from the Submarine are up. They still can, in theory, take this, but it's going to be so much more difficult going into a Snowball.
They're going to get the Orchid onto Tron, pull him back in, trying to focus down this Slark. Thug is isolated inside the Cogs, Force Staff out, Thug is going to die. They don't get the melee barracks, and it looks like it might be too early to call a comeback. Yellow Sub are going to strike back, but they buy back on their Slark. They need to catch some of these kills and they're retreating with a missed hook shot. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. I have another one in 10 seconds, but by that time, it looks like mYinsanity have TP'd out on Nikobaby as well as on Nikwa. A good fight for mYinsanity, don't get me wrong, but this game is far from over. We're pretty much evened out on the net worth graph. Take a look at that. That's V for comeback.
It was mYinsanity just making the game more interesting, just casually giving away, 14k experience, 12k gold, and then bringing it back right after. Oh man, this game, that fight over in the mid lane that we just saw, Shadow Fiend was just completely obliterated. I don't think he had his BKB available, it was still on cooldown. The hook shot straight into a Sonic Wave, and the burst damage there dropped the Shadow Fiend before he actually had a chance to reposition himself. And if they're somehow able to do that, Yellow Submarine, every single time, then the Shadow Fiend, who's been surviving throughout most of these fights and doing by far the most damage for the mYinsanity side, will be able to just keep on, will just, not do anything. Nikobaby, though, somehow, I don't know how, has somehow managed to grab number 1 in the net worth. Now he has a Sheepstick and a BKB. The items that we were talking about earlier that he needed to grab are now up, and I did not expect these items to be grabbed. Like, I thought Yellow Submarine would be able to end the game before the Storm Spirit would be able to get that farm, but now this Storm Spirit is pretty much right on track with not only his item build, but also his Bloodstone charges.
Up to 13 after at one point having like what, 2, 4, something like that. It was not pretty. But yeah, Nikobaby is playing a great mid-late game Storm Spirit, and yeah, at this point that's working wonderfully for the mYinsanity side. And now the Shadow Fiend will also pick up presumably a Demon Edge item. MKB would be the probable choice with a mischance coming out from Night Stalker, Solar Crest, and Crippling Fear. Enough to force out that over Daedalus.
Well, there's 1 gem apiece right now.
Actually,
what?
Hold that thought. It's going to be a Butterfly for Thug.
Yeah, I don't mind that. The Slark doesn't have an MKB and doesn't really have any. I guess the Henemitis out for BKB in is going to be eventually the build for Slark, but there's no true hit on the Submarine side either, so I guess fight evasion with evasion and hope you roll lucky. It's gonna make him a little bit more, let's say, positioning proof. Like, even if he gets into a bad position, he'll have that evasion to kind of fall back on.
Yeah, fair enough. I would have personally rather them just put the Solar Crest on the Shadow Fiend and have that be enough and then get MKB, but yeah, both items have their merits, and I think it's just up to personal preference. Big group up from the side of Yellows up. Everybody but the Slark is currently smoked up and ready to go, but I don't think the smoke is going to mean anything. Should expire before they bump into the enemy side. Both teams have a very similar idea of what to do at the moment. That's just farm your woods.
50 minutes in right now. Both teams really scared about getting into a team fight, because at this point, the positioning matters so much more than items. It is 3 buybacks right now for the mYinsanity side. Slark still has his buyback, or doesn't have his buyback until another 3 minutes and 50 seconds have passed. So if it is going to be a full 5-on-5 brawl with both teams going all in, mYinsanity should be able to win it just with the sheer amount of lives that they have. They're going to see this Night Stalker, though Night Stalker is also going to see them. You would ideally like to wait for daytime to go for this as mYinsanity, but with level 3 darkness, I don't really think that's a luxury that they can afford. Jeez.
Well, that's something.
Dude, and look at the net worth lead now, like, it's back to like 100 or something. How in a 50-minute game, a net worth and XP difference can be this small, I have no idea. But there's a Roshan soon, eventually, and probably neither side is going to want to do anything drastic until that. Just as I say that, mYinsanity group up looking for a push. This is actually pretty ballsy from them. Yes, they have the buybacks to fall back on, but they don't really have anything substantial that they just picked up.
They should be able to get this range barracks, however, so as long as they get out cleanly afterwards, this is a pretty big win for them. Can they get out? Solar Crest, positive and negative on the Shadow Fiend. Ends up hurting the SF more than it helps. That mischance really does do quite a lot, but they're going to commit for melee. Force out a glyph, that's on cooldown for 5 minutes. If I'm mYinsanity, I'm going to look to make a retreat, but it looks like they want to commit. The pressure's on Yellow Submarine to find initiation. Thugs on the front lines. The Solar Crest going to be applied. They're going to jump in BKB by Tron, and BKB by pretty much everybody. They'll focus down on the Moroshka. The Clockwork is going to be isolated. Requiem going to be on right on top of Tron. My goodness, I'm missing a couple of my R's there, but regardless, the damage from Nico Baby's immense. So Chase scored for another 2 kills. Buyback from the Clockwork, and melee barracks will fall.
Spartan MVP of that fight by far. All the BKBs go up on Yellow Submarine. They get the jump in on Thug. They throw the Sonic Wave. It doesn't do jack. This Thug Shadow Fiend is hiding in the snowball. Everyone else on mYinsanity, they're off to the side. They're not near that damage output. And all that damage that would have killed off Thug otherwise got blocked by that Snowball. Big plays by the Tusk, and now they're on to Barrage. Snowball's going to come in once more. They'll blow up the Queen of Pain. Hookshot a little bit too late. Queen of Pain does have a buyback right now, and she will throw a Sonic Wave onto Spartan, but man, this Tusk has already done his job. Hasn't had the cleanest Tusk game that we've ever seen, but you know what? Sometimes you can just redeem yourself by getting those couple of good plays. They're going to get the hookshot onto 4 heroes. Scream Pain will kill off the Tusk immediately, but Thug, he's still very healthy right now. They're going to try to go for Tron. Pops the BKB. He's going to pounce out of there, but Storm Spear's right on his tail. Cogs bouncing back. Slark still surviving, and he will get out of there safe and sound. Everyone from mYinsanity kind of banged up right now. Nico Baby's going to get hit with the hookshot again. With a call down, they should be able to get away from this, though. Another hookshot's up in 5, but it's not going to be in time. Barrage is going to chase forward, looking for a little bit more. He's going to be walking into a roar, though, so he does have to be very careful. TP out from Nico Baby. He's going to be just fine. Nikwa, he's left behind a little bit, but he has a Blink Dagger. Can't get it out in time. He's going to get sheeped up. Sonic Wave, as well as a couple right clicks, and Nikwa is the one to fall. But after all is said and done, Yellow Submarine spend all of their buybacks. mYinsanity have 5 buybacks, and they have 2 Raxes up.
Yeah, a really huge swing in mYinsanity's favor. If you take a look at their heroes, there's so much room to grow. Gyrocopter isn't going to transition yet into a damage threat, or a right-click damage threat, I should say, with Flat Cannon. But if this game goes another 20, 30 minutes, God forbid, and Yellow Sub are able to hold that long, there is that possibility. And right now, the other heroes are strong enough to where that's not a necessity. The Storm Spirit finds himself a regen, will be very happily zip-zapping around. And now 2 barracks down, Yellow Sub are going to be hard-pressed to come back into it. Queen of Pain and Slark are not heroes that deal very well with these super creeps. Queen of Pain can ult and scream them down, work through them eventually. But as far as spread right-click damage is concerned, they have none. This first game is going to be very formative for the series. If mYinsanity win, it looks so difficult for Yellow Sub, but if Yellow Sub win on the flip side of the coin, they're just going to look at it and say, oh, it's just like a fresh best of 3 now, and it feels much better and much different. It's crazy how much one game can change.
I can't help but feel that for Yellow Submarine, they would have been able to avoid most of the situation if they actually went for a push when they had that Aegis. Like before the Slark picked up his BK or his Basher, you know, he was walking around with the Shadow Blade, Eye of Scotty, Black King Bar, Midas, and then he was also with the Aegis. It was about the same time when Night Stalker had the Aghanim Scepter and the Gem, and Yellow Submarine had the entire map under lockdown with the Vision and the True Sight. Yet they didn't go for that push with the Aegis. I think that was really the turning point in this game. That gave mYinsanity just a little bit more time and just get those couple of items up. And, you know, the items weren't huge for mYinsanity, but Yellow Submarine had an opportunity to end the game there, and they just didn't take it. And if they did go for that push, I think the Raxes, instead of being 2-0 in favor of mYinsanity, should be closer to 1-1 in the course of this game. So Yellow Submarine possibly playing things a little bit too slowly. And now we have, again, a mYinsanity game with Nico actually grabbing a Refresher Orb. Roar, Refresh, Roar. It's going to strain the mana pool of Beastmaster by quite a bit, but the Roar lasts for a hell of a long time. It's a 4-second stun. So you get 8 seconds total, unless, you know, you have the Shadow Dance. Dark Pact, rather.
Yeah, it's still an amazing item pickup for them, and their Gyrocopter also has a Scythe of Vice. For his support, he's pretty incredibly farmed. And yeah, that's what happens when you take down these barracks. They mean so much for the gold of your entire team, and 2 full sets have gone in mYinsanity's favor. Yellow Sub are forced to use their Sonic Wave pretty much every time for this mid lane push, or else they're just going to be overrun by these super creeps. It's going to come at the sacrifice of control around the Roshan pit. Yellow Sub need to take a fight in their base, it feels, but at least the silver lining now is the top lane's pushing out, but so much gold for Nico, baby.
He's going to clear that all out, and fortunately for the mYinsanity side, Roshan isn't going to spawn again until Nico Baby is at least a little bit closer. He'll be able to catapult himself in there with the Ball Lightning. So they commit the Storm Spirit up towards the top lane and a little bit of a gambit in order to hold that tier 3, because that creep wave was huge enough to take that down by themselves. And now Roshan is going to pop right back up again. Observer Ward is on the high ground here for mYinsanity, but it's also nighttime. Oh, it's actually not nighttime. Darkness just runs out. Oh, that sucks for Yellow Submarine. They don't know what's going on here. They're going to get into a position with Tron right now. Milan's going to sheep him up first, trying to distract him away. With the shards blocking off, Sonic Wave will actually kill off Roshan. They snatch the Aegis on Thug, however, pops the BKB with a full-on Requiem to the Clockwork's face. He will go down, and the Queen of Pain will drop as well, up on the high ground with so many enemy heroes. Nico Baby's going to look for a little more. Wants Kant, wants to get rid of the Grave, but it's not even necessary. It's GG called. Ball Lightning forward. Everyone Yellow Submarine going to fall. Holy crap. This game was Yellow Submarine's for such a long time, but it is going to be, unfortunately, maybe a 2-game best of 5, dude. This is gonna be hard for Yellow Submarine to come back to.
Yeah, definitely. So at their peak, Yellow Sub had an advantage of more than 10,000 in their favor in the matter of 5 minutes. That advantage was completely gone. Within 10, it flipped right back in the favor of mYinsanity. A fun game to watch, and thanks for joining us. But yeah, Yellow Sub are going to be hard-pressed to come back after that Game 1 loss.
Yeah, winning 3 straight games is rough, since versus mYinsanity, Yellow Submarine haven't won a game in a long time. Even the Winners Bracket Finals was 2-0 for mYinsanity, and it might be 2-0 again. Guys, we'll be right back for Game 2 to see if mYinsanity can win the Hitbox European Championship here on the Pro Dota English channel. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by GrandisV on the mic and Corrupt Drop Bear on the stats. And we'll be right back for what could be the last game. Don't go anywhere.